All right, y'all. So, as I've mentioned before, Adobe Rush does not have a built-in function for creating a credit sequence for your video. So, I'm going to show you a quick hack for how to do that to make sure that you can incorporate credits at the end of your project to ensure that you are properly citing any sources that you brought in for your work. So without further delay, let's jump right in. And one of the first things that you're going to want to do is you want to make sure that the credits that you're creating, they align with the orientation of your video. So in this case, you can see the video that I have here. I have a horizontal aspect ratio, so I want to make sure that I'm typing up my credits in the same way. And this is to ensure that we don't wind up cropping out any of our text later on. That can happen if the two formats, the two aspect ratios, do not match. So if we go into the document where I'm typing up my sources, I'm going to go up here to Layout. Let's go and change the orientation from Portrait to Landscape. That way the document is horizontal just like the video. And as I was saying earlier, you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you're potentially having to crop out text. So depending upon the number of sources that you have for this project, y'all, you're almost certainly going to have more than 5 that you need to cite. You may have to repeat this process multiple times because I would recommend that for each one of these credit pages, you only have 4, 5, maybe 6 sources listed on there, because you may have to blow this image up once it's in Adobe Rush. So you don't want to have the page overloaded with text. So I'm going to go up here. Let's go ahead. We're going to space this down so that this is roughly in the center of that document there. All right. And what we need to do now is we're going to go up here to File, and we are going to save this to our desktop, but we're going to save it in the form of a PDF. Let's go ahead and export. All right. And y'all, make sure that this document here that you're working from, the original document, make sure that you are saving that just in case. All right. Don't delete it once you have it turned into a PDF, because you may have to go back and do some editing, especially if you're continuing to add sources maybe at the last moment. So we've got our PDF page created. All right. And y'all, one of the things that you'll want to do here is make sure that you are slightly zoomed out from the text. Don't zoom in, because once again, you may have to increase the size of this image. You may have to rescale it once it is in Adobe Rush, and you don't want to lose any of that text. So if anything, be spaced out, maybe click it once or twice, all right? And what we're going to do is, once we are at that good distance from the text, we're going to go ahead and we are going to take a screenshot of that PDF file. So we're going to close out of that. And this screenshot is actually an image that we can now load into Adobe Rush for our project. The only issue is that because it is a screenshot, it picks up everything else on the desktop. So it's got all of the various functions in Adobe Acrobat that's picked up. All right, so we don't want to have that. We just want to have the text. So we're going to use our cursor, and we're going to go ahead and we are going to create a border around our text. Try to pick up as much of that blank white background as you can. All right, and we're going to go up here to Tools, and we are going to crop it. All right, and that looks much better. So that is an image that doesn't pick up any of the rest of the desktop. It's just giving us the text, which is all we want the audience to see. All right, so let's close out of that. And then again, because you may find that you're having to do this multiple times, go ahead and title each one of the pages. So I'll just say that this is Credits 1. We'll place that in the Asset folder, as we would do for any video editing project. We're going to go back into Rush. Let's click on the Add Media button. Go to Your Media. And it's right there waiting for us in the Asset folder. So let's click on that. Add it in there. Let's X out of that. And that actually looks really good. We don't have to blow that up anymore if we don't want to. I mean, you can if you want the text to be a little bit larger, but that's actually pretty good as is. And I'll tell you what, because we want this video to be truly cinematic, we're going to add a transition there at the end, so it's going to dip to black very briefly, just like a regular movie would before we see the credits. All right, and there we go. And like I said, you are likely going to have to do multiple credit pages for your project, depending upon the number of sources that you're using, not just your critical sources, but any videos or images that you compiled from elsewhere. Remember, anytime you're using somebody else's work in an academic project, even if it's just an image that's going to appear on screen for a second or two, that is still something that you have an ethical responsibility to cite. So you may have to do this multiple times. And for each one of the pages that you have, just add the dissolve transition between them, all right? So that way it looks nice and smoothly edited. Add a dip to black at the end of it so that it fades out the way that a movie should, and you're good to go. And that is how you add a credit sequence to the end of your Adobe Rush video.